T minus 1 minute. T minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Right now on Truth Today, false peace, false ceasefire. It will not last between Israel and Iran. And the delusional U.S. policy dealing with not just Iran, but Islam. It is going to get us into the time of the tribulation and the Antichrist. That and much more right now on Truth Today. Well, good afternoon, folks. If you're in the Eastern time zone, good morning. If you're in any other time zone, this is Pastor Sharam Hadian with Truth and Love Ministry, Truth Today here with you. My apologies for the delay. We had some major technical issues with our screen. If you see me today looking over to the side, we had to adjust because our main monitor went out. And so I can't, if I don't have a monitor, I can't see what we're doing and running the show. And so we were trying to troubleshoot that. So I deeply apologize for the very, very late start today. Also, I apologize that I had sent the wrong date out on the text alert. I believe that I had put the 25th on that text alert possibly, but it is obviously the 24th today. We're still June 24th today. So again, thank you for joining us. Of course, I want to encourage you, again, I apologize if I have to look over to the side, but want to encourage you, check out our website. If you have any information about or questions about the ministry, check out our website at tilministry.com, tilministry.com. Also, you can check out our events calendar coming up as we continue to finalize our events. Want to also remind you, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, that please go to our Rumble channel. That is our main place that we are live streaming, rumble.com/SharamHadian, rumble.com/SharamHadian. That is where we're live streaming, and that's where we encourage you guys to please click join and like and share. Three things: join, like, share. If you have not done that, let us know where you're from today. We also love to see where people are joining us from on the show. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be before you today. I wanted to share with you this show today because I believe in my spirit that the events that are going on in the world simply prove what the Bible says, that there will be a greater measure of evil, of imposters, of confusion, and of deception in the last days as we get closer and closer to the coming of the Lord. And as such, what has happened in the last 48 hours? Saturday night, we got word that there was the strikes on Iran. By Monday, we see the possibility, very strong possibility, of a regime change, of the thing collapsing. All of a sudden, then by yesterday afternoon, we hear ceasefire. And there's a ceasefire, and then it's violated, and now it's supposed to be back on again. It seems absolutely like someone with a split personality. It seems dysfunctional. There's confusion, and that is because this is not from the Lord in the sense of these choices. I do believe that Saturday, that the strike against Iran from the U.S. was necessary. I said that back then. But what has happened subsequently is once again, demonstrating an absolute lack of understanding, lack of wisdom, lack of knowledge upon our leadership. We don't understand the enemy. We don't understand the ideology of the enemies that we have. We have spiritual enemies. I don't mean individual people, but ideologies that are from the pit of hell. So I titled the show today. Let me go to this here real quick. I titled the show today. What happened to my title? Right here. False peace and a false ceasefire. I guarantee you, whatever was put together will not last. That's a guarantee. Now, how do I know that? Well, because one, you're going to see the Bible tells us that there is a false peace that will not last. We know that. I'm not saying this is it. This is the false peace, but we're heading in that direction. And number two, because I know Islam, I know what Islam does, how it operates, how it deceives, how Muslims are commanded to lie. Again, as you've followed our ministry, you know that when we cover Islamic law, when we cover the ideology of Islam, when we learn that one of the 99 names that is given to this false god in Islam is that he is the greatest of the deceivers. We know who the deceiver is. The Bible is very clear who the deceiver is, the father of lies. So when I see policy and decision-making and language, we were all hopeful on Saturday night when the president addressed the nation. He said, God, we love you. We felt that, we have to do this. There was a sense of optimism and hope, especially among the Iranian people, that this was going to lead to finally, after 46 years, the collapse of this regime and allow the Iranian people to rise up. And I'm going to play some video clips for you here in just a little bit. But I want to just start, as we always do, with the Bible. And I want to go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. If you have your Bibles, go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. And we're going to look at the circumstances and the condition of what the Bible addresses with the last days. Let me just get it in my Bible. I keep going over it. I apologize. That it's very, very clear that in the last days, there will be a push for a false peace. And the context of this is talking about the day of the Lord, the coming day of the Lord. Sorry, it's just bizarre for me because normally I look past the camera at our screen and I'm having to look to the left. So again, if you've joined us late and you're wondering why I keep looking to the left, is because We had to rig up another monitor because our main monitor died. And so, technology, right? But so bear with me. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Why am I calling today's show False Peace? This is a false ceasefire. And again, this is not just this one moment, but anytime that we try to make peace with the enemy, you cannot have fellowship or peace with the enemy. Here's a question. Do you think that as Christians, we can ever make peace with Satan? You think that Satan will ever come to a place where he will change his stripes and decide all of a sudden to not want to come, to seek, to kill, steal, destroy, bring corruption, bring decay, bring lies? The answer should be a resounding no. Never, right? Never can we have fellowship between light and darkness or make some sort of a deal with the enemy. The phraseology, the deal with the devil, right? Never goes well. Well, the Bible says in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, regarding the coming day of the Lord, it's talking about his second coming. But concerning the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I should write to you. For you yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. Now, some will say this could be talking about the rapture of the church, the removing of the church. Either way, whether it would be talking about the removal of the church or the second coming, listen to the circumstances. Here is what is going to be the circumstances leading up to this event. The day of the Lord comes like a thief in the night. For when they say, verse 3, peace and safety, when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. So when my wife has been pregnant with our 6 children, and ladies, you guys know this, that if your water breaks, well, whenever your water breaks, obviously your water has to break at some point, right? Or they break it, that there is a massive increase of contractions, of pressure, and of pain. Because now we're coming to the moment where this baby is coming. We know there's a time frame that this baby is coming. And so with our 6 children that were born and 2 that we lost in heaven during the pregnancies, but with the 6 that were born, that was a huge sign. So the same thing says here, labor pains on a pregnant woman can come very quickly in the sense of that moment, that push. And same here. Here's verse 4. But you, brethren, are not in darkness so that this day should overtake you as a thief. So for us, it shouldn't be sudden. You are all sons of light and sons of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as others do, but let us watch and be sober. And here's the key that some believe this is talking about the rapture, because verse 9, for God did not appoint us to wrath, but to obtain salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ, who died for us, that whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. So we're not appointed to wrath. So number one, in our salvation, God has removed us from the wrath, meaning the destruction that comes upon the person who rejects God, who rejects Christ, who rejects the salvation of Christ, of Yeshua. And because of that rejection, they're now subject to the wrath, the penalty of sin. What is the penalty of sin? Death physically and death eternally. Separation from God eternally. Death as in not that you die and you don't exist. You will exist eternally, but unfortunately in separation, in torment. That's the unfortunate, sad punishment for those who reject Christ, who reject the truth. So, one, we're not going to see that wrath. And 2, if we're not appointed to wrath at all, then the wrath that is coming during the 7-year tribulation period is not for the church. So either we are the church is taken out before the tribulation starts. That's the pre-tribulation rapture. Or the church has to be taken out before the wrath is poured out, starting in Revelation chapter 6, where then you have what's called a pre-wrath rapture. One of those two has to be the case. There is no case to be made that the church will go through the entirety of the book of, not the book of Revelation, the entirety of the tribulation, the entirety of the 7-year period, because we know that God's wrath is going to be poured out upon the earth, upon the Antichrist, upon the first beast, the second beast, the entire beast system, the armies of the Antichrist. His wrath is going to be poured out before the Son of Man returns upon the clouds and sets foot in Jerusalem on the mount and establishes his throne on earth. So because of that, what is telling us is the conditions leading up to that are going to be false peace. Now, why am I bringing that up in regards to this? We know that the rhetoric. So I want to go to, this is what the president posted. You see there, June 23rd, yesterday, 6 o'clock in the evening. Congratulations to everybody. Now, this is again, hold on, let me come back to me. This is again, after the bombs fell, right? After the bombs fell on Saturday, the U.S. strike, correct? All of a sudden, let me take a step back. Here is what the president said on June 22nd. So for us Iranians, Persians, Christians, we were excited just for a moment. It's not politically correct to use the term, quote, regime change, but if the current Iranian regime is unable to make Iran great again, MIGA, which is, Brandon House and I were joking about that last week, that this was the phrase. All of a sudden, then it kind of got popular. Why wouldn't there be regime change? MIGA, make Iran great again, right? So the president posted that on June 22nd, after the successful strikes on Iran, thanks to Israel clearing the way. I supported the strikes because I do believe that, and I disagreed when I was on Saturday night at Brandon House. I disagree with the entire panel that this meant that this is now America's war, or that we've declared war on Iran. And as I said Saturday night in the emergency broadcast that we did, that I do not believe that this was the moment that we went to war with Iran, because Iran has been at war with us for 46 years. Give me a break. And Islam has been at war with us for 249 years since our founding, because Islam has been at war with the Western, with the non-Muslim society for 1,420 something, 30 plus years. But we don't understand that. We don't get that. We don't understand that you're dealing with an enemy that is never going to make peace with you. And any peace that comes is short and temporary and is deceptive. That's why I said in the text alert that this is a failure of U.S. policy, and even President Trump and every other president before him, with the exception of Muslim Obama, that they did not understand Islam. Muslim Obama understood Islam. He was lying to you that he was a Christian. He was really a Muslim, and he was doing the bidding of Islam. He was a Marxist Muslim, the red-green axis. But what you have is you have all the other presidents that do not understand Islam, do not understand what they're dealing with, and do not understand that Islam can lie, Islam can make a treaty, can make an agreement, and then simply turn around when they get the advantage or the upper hand, or when they regroup. This happened in warfare with Muhammad. When they were in warfare, if they were being defeated, they would make a treaty. They would make a treaty long enough to retreat, to regroup, rearmor up, get stronger, and then they would break the treaty and they would go and defeat their enemies. It is to our demise, and it is our foolishness as a nation that we think that we have a ceasefire or a treaty with any Islamic controlled, run government country. It is absolute delusion and ignorance. Period. I don't care what any pundit says geopolitically. So he said that, right, on Sunday, that there was need for a regime change. Not that America, again, I said all along, not that America would bring the regime change, but simply they would get out of the way of the Iranian people. We had reported again and again that that Reza Pahlavi, the son of the Shah, was reaching out to the Iranian people. I'm going to play a bit of a video clip that I posted on my Facebook page yesterday, I think it was, and I posted also that his mother, the former queen of Iran, Farah Pahlavi, had made a video appealing that there was even some sources out there that were saying that Pahlavi is finally getting some ears listening in the U.S. administration in the event that this regime collapses, that they would be able to step in and bring a plan, a transitional government to then establish a representative government, establish elections, candidates. But then we see this. No, let me go back. Actually, first this. The declaration, where'd it go? The declaration of, what happened to my, oh, right here. Sorry about that, guys. Here we go. Congratulations. Remember, look at the time here. So now it's yesterday at 6 o'clock in the evening. Congratulations to everybody. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire. And approximately 6 hours from now, when Israel and Iran have wound up or wound down and completed their in-progress final missions for 12 hours, at which point the war will be considered ended. Officially, Iran will start the ceasefire, and upon the 12th hour, Israel will start the ceasefire, and upon the 24th hour, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. During each ceasefire, the other side will remain peaceful and respectful on the assumption that everything works as it should, which it will. I would like to congratulate both countries, Iran and Israel and Iran, on having the stamina, courage, and intelligence to end what should be called the 12-day war. This is a war that could have gone on for years and destroyed the entire Middle East, but it didn't. And never will God bless Israel. Oh, and what? But it didn't. And never will. That doesn't make sense. Never will God bless Israel. God bless Iran. I don't understand what the never is. But okay, God will bless Israel. God bless Iran. God bless the Middle East. God bless the United States of America. God bless the world. So Mr. President, besides the fact that this is a delusional statement, you want me to believe that God is going to bless Iran in its current form, right? You want me to believe that the God of the Bible is going to bless Iran, right? We already have people out there that's saying God is no longer blessing Israel. God is done with Israel. You know, we have all that stuff, right? But you want God to bless the Middle East that is full of Islam. You want God to bless the country of Iran, governed by the most vile, evil dictatorship, Islamic dictatorship that Iran has probably ever seen. The people of Iran, the Persian people, have ever seen. That, as I said, has been at war with America since the overthrow of the government in 1979. And then the president comes out and makes this statement. Israel and Iran came to me almost simultaneously and said, peace. What did the Bible just say? For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them. Peace. I knew the time was now. The world and the Middle East are the real winners. Both nations will see tremendous love, peace, and prosperity in their futures. Oh, yeah, Mr. President, because that's what the Iranian people have seen for 46 years under this regime, right? They have so much to gain and yet so much to lose if they stray from the road of righteousness and truth. The future of Israel and Iran is unlimited and filled with great promise. God bless you both. Yes, Mr. President, the future of Iran or Persia is guaranteed in the Bible, because that's what is going to happen because of God's hand. But what you're doing is not helping it, because in its current state, it's not going to change. And as Jules, thank you for your post here, says, I didn't even want to play the clip of him today where he was leaving the White House and he goes off on Israel. He's mad at Israel. Why? Because Iran broke the ceasefire. Iran fired missiles into Israel. One of those missiles hit a building that killed an Israeli family of 4. Also, according to the Jerusalem Post, it also killed not just an Israeli family of 4, but it killed an IDF soldier, Corporal Ethan Zaks. Oh, I guess this is the whole family. I'm sorry. This is the whole family. The 4 of them that were killed. Let me go to this here. This is who was killed in the Iranian missile strike. Kills IDF Corporal Ethan Zaks, his mother, Michael Zaks, partner Noah Bogoslav, whatever. In addition to those killed, 20 were wounded in Beersheba as sirens sounded across Israel as part of 3 large ballistic missile salvos from Iran. So it killed him, his mother, his girlfriend. They say partner. I don't know why I say partner, but his girlfriend, Noah Bogolovsky, and were actually okay. There's, according to this, 5 were killed. It says they were among 5 killed Tuesday morning by an Iranian missile strike. He's 18 years old. So that's what happened. And then what does Trump say? Trump says, oh, the missile never hit. It was unintentional, before going off and saying, these countries have been at war so long, they don't know what the F they're doing. Thank you, Mr. President. No, what it means is you don't know what you're doing. With all due respect, sir, you have no clue what you're doing. And where we thought that you were listening to the voice of God, clearly now you've turned and listened to the voice of others. Because to equivocate the fact that, and then by the way, he then is mad, he calls Netanyahu and he gets them to turn the planes around because Israel was going to retaliate for killing 5 Israelis when there was supposed to be a ceasefire, and Trump makes them turn the plane around. Keep the ceasefire. This is the very definition of being delusional, folks. And so now, right? Prosperity, so much love, peace, and prosperity in their futures. Really, Mr. President, has there been love, peace, and prosperity in the 46 years that this Islamic regime in Iran has ruled? Has there been love, peace, and prosperity to the Iranian people? No. Has there been love, peace, and prosperity to the world? No. Was there love, peace, and prosperity when Iran backed Hamas and killed 1,200 Jews? No. Was there love, peace, and prosperity to the 264 Marines that were killed in 1984 by Iran? No. I can go on and on and on and on. Because as long as there is an Islamic regime, as long as, whether it's in Iran or Saudi Arabia or Qatar or Egypt or Jordan or Syria or Turkey or the United Arab Emirates, Dubai, Oman, Qatar, pick a country, pick an Islamic country, and tell me if there is love, peace, and prosperity for all people. Tell me about the Christians that are being massacred in Nigeria. Tell me about the Christians that were just massacred in Syria at the hands of a Muslim suicide bomber. Tell me about the Christians that are massacred by the Boko Haram or the Fulani Muslim in Nigeria. in Pakistan? Can India be at peace with Pakistan as long as Pakistan wants to subjugate Israel under Islamic rule? This is delusional, warped thinking, folks. And that's exactly right. Iran hit civilians. Israel was not going to retaliate by hitting civilians. Israel would have retaliated by hitting the missile launchers and other military targets, like they hit the front of Evin prison, the notorious prison, in order to give a chance for the prisoners. And many of those prisoners are dissidents. They are Christians. They are political prisoners. They are the ones who are the journalists who have been calling out, trying to expose the evil of this barbaric Arab leading Ayatollahs and the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Here, let's go to the video. And let me play the video of Reza Pahlavi. Which one is it? Right here. This is what Reza Pahlavi said yesterday. I posted this on my Facebook page. A beautiful message to the world and to the Iranian people. It's 14 minutes. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I'll play a little bit of it. And this is the opportunity that I believe now is once again being wasted by this so-called ceasefire that will not last. Let's play this. Here we go.
This regime is defeated, teetering on the edge of...
I need to... 1 second. I may not be able to do that because you won't have audio for this. Give me 1 second, folks. Sorry. Oh, let me come back to me here for a second so I can figure this out, because I think that audio, again, something we hadn't anticipated, but it's because of the fact that it is going to, all right, output. Okay, let's try this here and then tell me if this now will work. Thank you for your patience. Let's try this here and see if it will go.
Collapse and must not be allowed to continue. The time has come to end this ruin and begin a new era for Iran. And must not. This is a new dawn for Iran's lion and sun. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few days, I have spoken with people across Iran from every walk of life. An officer in the armed forces, a mother fleeing Tehran, a factory worker from Tabriz, a young woman, activist for the Women Life Freedom Movement. These voices represent a nation embattled but resilient, a young woman that is not asking for its freedom, it is fighting for it. From the 1999 student protests to the Green Movement, to the 2017 Dema and 2019 Aban Mah uprisings, thousands of Iranians have given their lives in the fight for Iran's liberation. Today, millions of my brave compatriots continue the fight. One of their stories moved me deeply. In September 2022, Jawad Haydari was murdered protesting the Islamic Republic's killing of Mahsa Amini. His sister has continued his fight. She's one of the hundreds of activists the regime has arrested and harassed in recent days. When security forces raided her home, she cried out, "Oh God, where shall we go? Where shall we go to flee from your tyranny?" One by one, her neighbors began to respond to her, "We're not going anywhere. They," meaning the regime, "are the ones who've got to go." These words echo in my heart and should echo in every corridor of power around the world. Today, it is clearer than ever. The Islamic Republic is collapsing. Credible reports indicate that Ali Khamenei's family and the family of senior regime officials are making preparations to flee Iran. The regime is on its last legs in towns and cities across the country. The military is fractured. The people are united. The foundation of this 46-year tyranny are shaking. This is our Berlin Wall moment. But like all moments of great change, it comes fraught with danger. We stand at a crossroads. One road leads to bloodshed and chaos, the other to a peaceful and democratic transition. The difference in these two roads depends on one factor, and one factor alone:
Listen to this, folks.
whether the current regime in Iran is allowed to survive.
There you go. That's it.
If the West throws the regime a lifeline, there will be more bloodshed and chaos, because this regime will not submit or surrender after it has been humiliated. It will lash out. As long as it is in power, no country and no people are safe, whether on the streets of Washington, Paris, Jerusalem, Riyadh, or Tehran. There is only one way to achieve peace: a secular, democratic Iran. I am here today to submit myself to my compatriots, to lead them down this road of peace and democratic transition. I do not seek political power, but rather to help our great nation navigate through this critical hour towards stability, freedom, and justice.
I'm going to stop there because you guys can go and watch the rest on my page. But eloquent, articulate, measured, and exactly what he said yesterday. Remember, this is just yesterday that he gave this speech in Paris. And exactly what we were saying. The only way this regime survives is if either America, Trump, or China, or Europe throws Iran a lifeline, throws this regime a lifeline. And that's exactly, I agree with you, Jules, that's exactly what Trump just did with this ridiculous declaration of a ceasefire and getting mad. And I appreciate one of the comments here from Joel is, what would President Trump's response be if Iranian ballistic missiles killed U.S. troops? He should not overestimate his authority over Israel and the world. Humility, discernment, and wisdom is called for. Amen to that. What if that one final missile that they shot, supposedly final missile, which it will not be a final missile, because I will guarantee you right now, right here, that this, again, if you're joining us late, this false peace and this false ceasefire will not last. I guarantee you that it will not last. Because as long as there is a Islamic jihadist breathing, as long as they're breathing, and they're following the teachings of their demonic prophet and their demonic ideology, there will never be peace, true peace, because we know that the Prince of Peace is the only one who brings true peace, and he will bring true peace upon his return. But there will never be peace with a Muslim who is adhering to Islam, carrying out their mission to not only establish Islam upon the ends of the earth, but to kill every last Jew, according to what Muhammad claims in the Hadith, and to subjugate the Christians, because we're all wrong, apparently. So here you have the unbelievable moment that the former son of the Shah is ready. They're already talking to people within the country. There's already going to be tens of thousands of people defecting from the army, the police, and other sectors of the government. Israel has dismantled and continues to dismantle. My big question here is, what is going on that Netanyahu or Israel agreed to the ceasefire? And how could he have agreed not to hit back after these 5 Israelis, including a member of the IDF and his family, were murdered by a missile after the ceasefire was to take effect? It is maddening. It is crazy. And it is delusional. And it is part of the deception. Because this is the regime we're dealing with. Let me just play a video for you here. This is the regime we're dealing with here that does this to its women. We have no audio. 1 second to go. Let me go back. This is their morality police. So that's part of what this regime is like. And let me play for you another clip here. Where's my other clip here that I was going to play for you? Here is Iranian TV. Look at what they're saying. This is after the ceasefire was announced. Let me set this up here. I'm going to go fast forward here just a couple of seconds. Here we go. Past this commentator. Here it is. Again, no audio. And by the way, let me make this, see if I can make this bigger. Look at the subtitle.
شنیده بودن صحبتشون رو گفتن که بالای 500 نفر کشته داده بود حملات دیروزمون، قریب به 300 نفر گم و گور شده بودن، مفقود شده بودن، زیر آوار مونده بودن و قریب به 200 نفرم مجروح شده بودن. بالای 200، یعنی فقط طی عملیات دیروزمون چیزی بالای بر 1000 نفر کشته و زخمی و مفقود شده.
درست. شاید با توجه به ورود آمریکایی‌ها، چون ما داشتیم فاتحه اسرائیل رو می‌خوندیم و داشت تمام میشد کار، ولی نباید پامون رو از خرخره نتانیاهو و جنایتکاران صهیونیست برداریم. ضمن که دست ترامپ رو باید قطع کنیم با تدابیر الهی رهبر عزیزتر از جانمون.
How much? Excuse me.
So this is
you have got to.
This is what is going on here. Sorry, 1 second. I got to get out of this here. So that's what. Come on. Sorry about that. That's what you're dealing with, right? You're dealing with the regime that says. You're dealing with the regime that is already bragging. This was when they signed the ceasefire. They're already bragging that we killed 200 or wounded 1,000. And he said, the reason they're doing this is because we are destroying Israel so badly. Really? Is that what's happening? They're destroying Israel so badly? Now, again, this is Iranian state-run media, so everything is propaganda. But I'm just trying to tell you, this is what you're saying, Mr. President, peace and prosperity and righteousness to? This is who you're saying that you're going to have righteousness with? I can celebrate something positive that Trump does. I said on Saturday night, I think that despite the fact that it was incredibly difficult decision, he made the right decision to do the one part of the peace that Israel needed. Israel could not hit those facilities. They did not have those 30,000-pound bombs. America did it. That was all they needed to do. The rest of it was get out of the way of Israel. Let Israel do what it needed to do in Operation Lion Rising. And again, maybe some of you didn't hear this. Let me say it here real quick. Why was that operation called Lion Rising? Because the symbol of Persia is the lion. And the old Iranian flag had the lion with a sword and the sun, not this modern, this new Islamic flag that has an Islamic symbol on it. So when Israel was saying Lion Rising, and that was the name of this operation, that was, in my opinion, a message to the Iranian people. Rise up. We've planned this for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. We have infiltrated. We have meticulously, and I know to save face, they got to say, no, we're not trying to do regime change. But that was their message to the Iranian people. Here's your chance. We're going to dismantle this thing. We're going to tear the head of the snake down. You got to rise up. You got to be able to go in the streets. You got to be able to take over your country. And Reza Pahlavi is saying, I'm ready. We have a transition plan. We're already communicating. 24 hours later, not even 24 hours later, 6 o'clock that night, bam. Talk about pulling the rug out from underneath somebody. Talk about absolute betrayal of the Iranian people. And a chance for the Middle East to shift. Now, here's my prayer. My prayer is that this will fall apart like the ceasefire did with Hamas, right? I expect this to go the exact way, same way that the ceasefire went with Hamas. Trump gets in. Foolish Witkoff goes to Israel, twists the arm of Netanyahu or the Israelis to take the hostage deal that was the Biden hostage deal. Terrible, terrible. Deal with the devil. I did a show on it back then. Deal with the devil. What did they get? They're still finding hostage bodies. Did they get all their hostages back for releasing over 2,000 jihadists out of Israeli prisons? No. They got some back, but there's still more dead or alive in captivity. They just found 3 the other day, their bodies. Israel did. So they had a ceasefire, correct? Did it last? No. Why didn't it last? Did Israel break it? No. Why didn't it last? Did Israel break this ceasefire? No. So Trump is wrong. He's a liar. I'm going to say it, folks. He's a liar for saying that Israel also broke the ceasefire deal. They both did it. Anybody that is saying that is lying. But why didn't the Hamas ceasefire last? Because you are fundamentally dealing with Islam. Whether it's the Islam in Gaza, or whether it's the Islam in Tehran, or whether it's the Islam in Lahore, Pakistan, or whether it's the Islam in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, or whether it's the Islam in Doha, Qatar, wherever it is, if it is Islam, you will never have peace. The only way this world is going to have, quote, peace is upon the arrival of the Antichrist, who will bring in a false peace and a false ceasefire. Now, I know before you ask me, are you saying that Trump could be the Antichrist? I know people have said that out there. No, I don't believe Trump is the Antichrist. But I certainly believe that he's helping to usher in this beast system. Where we hoped that it would slow things down, nope, it's just accelerating. And it is now further accelerating. Because remember, in Ezekiel 38, before Israel is attacked, whether, and again, I'm starting to think that more and more likely that could be that Ezekiel 38 happens in the tribulation at the beginning or right after, because it says they are in safety in unwalled villages. You think this ceasefire is going to make Israel safe? You think this ceasefire is going to make America safe? No, because you left the rabid, demonic dogs in power. You left the henchmen in power. You left the murderers in power. You gave them a lifeline, Mr. President. And then you're going to say the F word on camera and say you're mad at them? Control your emotions, sir. You show your ignorance, Mr. President, and the ignorance of your advisors. Because there's going to be, one more time, folks, so just so you can see the words, there's not going to be peace. There's not going to be love and peace and prosperity. No, both sides are not winners. There's not a road of righteousness and truth as long as this Islamic, demonic regime. Now, again, you even if you dealt with this issue in Iran, then you have all the other Arab nations and Islam that are buying us up, that are taking America over. Let me go to that headline. Where is the headline from this? Look at this headline. Breaking polls show Jew-hating jihadi Zohran Mamdani is leading Andrew Cuomo in New York's rigged ranked choice primary for mayor of New York City. The Muslim jihadist is leading the way in New York City because New York City now is the upper house of Islam. Dar al-Islam, folks. The moment they declared that they're going to broadcast the Islamic call of prayer on loudspeakers across the entire city, something they're not letting any other, quote, religious group do. The moment they did that, I said, New York now is now Dar al-Islam. It's now gone to the upper house. It is now belonging to the Muslims. They have the most number of mosques in any city in America. The 1,200 NYPD officers out of 35,000 are Muslim now. So what's the shock here? That a jihadist Muslim is going to potentially be leading the way in this race. And here's, by the way, more of what the regime says. Nabavian, deputy chair of Iran's National Security Commission, says, this is after the ceasefire, by the way, folks. The Iranian Republic's empire is emerging. We used to be a regional power. Now the Iranian nation is a global power. Our enemies are begging us for a ceasefire. Is that the way that Trump made it out to be? No, they're going to use this as their propaganda with the world. They're going to use this to further decimate the Iranian people. Here's another one. Terrorist Islamic regime broke the ceasefire already by firing ballistic missiles at Israel. And yet Israel can't retaliate. Iran breaks the ceasefire. That's the right headline. Iran broke the ceasefire. Here is another one. This is from Mazieh Amirzadeh, an Iranian activist. An Iranian activist here. Any ceasefire with the evil Islamic regime will be remembered as the biggest treason against Israel and innocent Iranian people in history. The evil Islamic regime will never stop spreading hate against Israel and seeking the extermination of Jews because hate and annihilation of Israel is the core teachings of their Islamic ideology. Ayatollahs are calling for a mass public execution of thousands of Iranians with the crime of espionage in order to create fear and terror. They have arrested anyone who was suspicious of supporting Israel to prepare them for a mass execution. The war in Iran has started more than 40 years ago when fanatic Ayatollahs hijacked Iran and Iranian people. Israel's attack on Iran is a war against the evil Islamic regime, not Iranians. The war in Iran has started more than 40 years ago when that was a repeat there. Putting a bandage around a dangerous tumor is not a solution to celebrate for it. It is like committing suicide that will cause more deaths and destruction. I could not agree more with that statement from another Iranian Christian activist. Here's another headline. Former Iranian President Hassan Rouhani had warned The recent events and Lebanon's resistance experience show clearly that a ceasefire is not necessarily the end of a threat. Translation: the regime may pause, but it'll never stop. So Rouhani, who was killed in the supposed helicopter crash that was supposedly an accident, said, just because we do a ceasefire, oh, the threat's not over. The threat's not over. Why? Because all they're doing is they're rebuilding. Iran has reportedly rejected a ceasefire. That was today, late last night. The government was saying we didn't have a ceasefire. That's why they launched their missile. Here is another one. Amir Hossein Sabati, a member of Iran's parliament representing Tehran, declared a ceasefire doesn't mean the war is over. It's the start of a new phase. Not only has Iran's nuclear infrastructure survived, but soon, with majority support in parliament, the IAEA inspectors who are really spies will be expelled. The West must get used to uncertainty about Iran's nuclear program. There you go. And yet, this Jewish site is declaring they won the 12-day war. Well, they may have won the war, the 12 days, but they haven't won the war. The skirmish, yes, but the battle. Because if America doesn't allow Israel to finish the job and allow the Iranian people to rise, Sukhu, Israel did not make the first strike. Iran broke the ceasefire. Iran struck first. Israel was going to retaliate for 5 Israelis being murdered last night, including a soldier of the IDF. And so I agree with you, folks. I'm so sick of the pridefulness. I'm so sick of all this talk about Nobel Peace Prize. I'm so sick and tired of the haughtiness. Where is the humility? On Saturday, he says, God, we love you. Everybody was excited about that. I was excited about that. I thought, wow. And then this. What happened in 48 hours? Less than 48 hours. What happened? So I don't know what to say here, folks. As a American, but also as one who was born in Iran, a Persian who is a Christian, who vehemently stands with the right of the Jewish people to the land, the word of God, I am grieved beyond measure. This is not good news. And again, one last time, it's a false peace. It's a false ceasefire. You've heard it from the Iranians themselves. They will make deals and they will break deals. That's what Islam does. That's what these Iranian treasonous, traitorous murderers will do. And President Trump is a fool if he believes it's true. His cabinet are fools if they believe it's true. They show their ignorance. And anybody out there that thinks this is good shows their ignorance and are fools. You do not know Islam. You do not know Iran. You do not know what the people have been going through. My family that still is there. I had many family members that are there in Tehran, in Esfahan, in Rasht, places that were hit. And I was praying for them. But the majority of the Iranian people were in favor of these strikes and Israel doing what they were doing. They were in favor of it. I'm grieved beyond measure. And all I can do is I pray, Lord, let the enemy show himself. Pray, folks, that Satan would reveal his hand, that this is not going to last. But every day that this ceasefire goes on, every day that Israel is not able to finish this and do what they started, and then the Iranian people can rise up, every day, it will be another day that not only will this regime regroup and be rearmored from their support of China or Russia or whoever else, North Korea, whoever else is supporting them, the Qataris, backdoor. That's, you heard me right, backdoor, because they play both sides. But every day this ceasefire goes on, it will mean more Iranians will be executed without trials, without due process. And again, just be clear, I am not advocating for the U.S. to go in, for troops on the ground, for even any more bombings. What I'm advocating for is, Mr. President, please shut your mouth, with all due respect. Shut your mouth. The egotistical pride that rises up in you, humble yourself before God, seek his will, and allow the timing of God to go forth. You are sabotaging the timing of God, in my opinion, in this moment in history. And why Israel agreed can only be based on threats, can only be based on coercion, promises, whatever. So I am deeply, deeply disgusted by our administration. And yet, throughout all this, again, not one word about Christians being massacred around the world. Not one word from the faith office in the White House. All you out there defending Paula White, where are they? Where are they with statements? Hey, we support the Iranian people. We support Christians that have been massacred around the world by Muslims. Not one word, because they're not going to upset and offend the ones who are giving them lots of money, because it's all about the art of the deal. That's what you get when you elect a businessman. And so here it is. Good and bad, folks. Good and bad. But this is a terrible day for the Iranian people. It's a terrible day for the world. And I just pray that this will just fall apart. This ceasefire will fall apart. And I pray that all things will be exposed. And ultimately, may the Lord's will be done. Maybe America did this because the threats of Iran unleashing their terror cells. America doesn't want to be hit by these terror cells. And guess what? That's exactly how Europe capitulated to Islam and jihad. And because they didn't want to be hit again and again, they didn't want to lose more of their citizens again and again. Instead of fighting the enemy, instead of kicking them out of their country, instead of rooting them out and uprooting them and throwing them out and going after them, no, they capitulate. We don't want to be hit. Maybe that's what Trump did. Maybe he capitulated because he doesn't want to get hit by the terror cells in America. The conversations with the Iranian went something like this: if you don't stop supporting Israel, we will unleash all of our terror cells in America and we'll bring you to your knees, America. Because as I said last week and on Saturday night, the United States is not prepared to deal with this threat in America. The United States is not prepared to deal with any type of Islamic threat because we have been neutered. The enemy has written the playbook now. So we got to pray that God would, first of all, his will be done, both in Israel and in Iran and with Bible prophecy. Again, we are dealing with a level of Bible prophecy. Here's two things I know. Number one, Israel will not be uprooted. No matter what these countries do, no matter how much the hatred against the Jewish people, they will not be uprooted. Number two, Israel's agreement to this is further heading them heading them up for deception. We know that they will then ultimately be deceived by the Antichrist and a false peace. We know that's going to happen. Number 3, we know there will be no peace and there will be no ceasefire that will last. We know that will happen. These are guaranteed. And number 4, here's what's guaranteed. The King of Kings is coming back. The Lord of Lords is coming back. And he will rout out all of this evil. He will destroy the armies of the Antichrist. He will bind Satan for 1,000 years, and he will set up his kingdom on earth. And before that, he will come and remove his church. So, yeah, good question, Colonels. When the sleeper cells decide to bomb us, will that humble him? I don't know. I don't know. But the Lord's will be done. God is sovereign. His will be done. Things are moving forward. And even under Trump, the Lord is using all of these things to advance the time. The deception of Israel, the deception of the world, false peace, all of this, right? Got to happen. Got to happen. But nevertheless, for the brief moment, a few days where us Persians, Christians especially, where we let our guard down and just started to believe for the first time in 46 years that perhaps this is the moment, this is the chance. Today, I feel spit upon by this president, by these decisions, by these words. I feel absolutely spit upon. I am more grieved than I've ever been with this man, ever been with this administration, both in the first term. I've defended this president so many times. Today was the worst slap in the face. Yesterday, today. And his words this morning, his anger this morning, anger at Israel, was such an insult, was such a level of ignorance and foolishness that it will be very hard for me to come back around to supporting this administration, this regime. The best thing they can do is this thing all falls apart and he's humiliated, he's humbled. May God humble this man. And may God's will be done. All right, folks. Again, grieved beyond measure. But that's it. So I don't know what else to tell you. This is a moment of false peace. It's a moment of false ceasefire. Anybody pushing this is pushing false peace and false ceasefire. And a deal with the devil never lasts. A deal with the demonic never lasts. You can't make a deal with the demonic. You can't make a deal with Satan. You can't make a deal with Islam. It will never last. Period. 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 Any words to that extent are words of foolishness, lack of wisdom, lack of understanding, lack of knowledge. You can never make peace with what is so evil, ever, 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 and then claim that that's somehow truth and righteousness or prosperity or peace or love. Never, never, ever, ever. So Lord, help us in the days to come. And I pray that the Lord would give great courage to the Iranian people. Despite this betrayal, I pray that the Lord would give great courage to the Iranian people. That they would indeed rise up. And I pray that to the nation of Israel, to Bibi Netanyahu and the Israeli government, I pray that once again, the Spirit of God would lead them to do what God is leading, which I believe this attack was God's timing for stirring things up. But remember, Jeremiah 49, the bow of Elam will be broken, the people will be scattered, and they will be regathered. And in the last days, God will establish his throne, not only in Jerusalem, but in Elam. modern day Iran, modern day Persia. That will happen, folks, because God's word said it will. So we trust God. We trust his promises. Pray for us Iranians that are right now have no words. We have no words. Pray for our family members that are in Iran that are going to suffer even greater agony, pain, suffering. They're already suffering financially. They've already suffered under tyranny. They're going to be even worse because you take a wounded animal like this and you let him live, it will become even more vicious. And that's the concern that we have right now for our relatives and our family members that are still in Iran. I don't think I should say more because I don't want my flesh to rise up against how mad I am. I will just let the Lord deal with it. Thank you guys for joining us. I want to encourage you. Again, please go to our website, tillministry.com. Have more information. If you want us to come speak in your area, let us know. Contact us. We'll make a way. If you want to support this ministry with a one-time donation, again, folks, we're making an appeal. We are still short. We've got about $2,500 to go for this quarter. And then in July, we start our next 3 months quarter. We need travel. So pray for open doors, open opportunities for this ministry, because that's a big part of our budget, to go and speak and travel and get the word out. As well as getting the word out, it helps our ministry. So if you want to make a one-time donation to the ministry, either online or you can mail in a check, if the Lord lays that on your heart, we're grateful for you. But we're grateful for all of you that are part of our Gideon army. We're grateful for all of you who have donated either once or monthly your sacrifice to the Lord, unto the Lord. We're so grateful. It allows us to do this. It allows us to get these messages out. I hope I've given you a perspective tonight. And also, if you want to get your freeze-dried food, prepare for tough days ahead, therighteousthrive.thrivelife.com. That's our freeze-dried food site. We're building up our pantries every month. We do a $99 a month or more program. We just budget it like our grocery budget. We get $100 worth of food every month to build up our emergency supplies, but we also cook with it. Just last night, my wife made an amazing cashew soup with chicken, and the carrots and the celery and the things that were in there. Some of that was Thrive. It was delicious, wonderful. We cook with it. $99 a month gets you wholesale pricing and free shipping. Much better deal. And whatever you purchase, 10% of that goes back to support this ministry. So we're grateful for your support. We will be back with you, Lord willing, Thursday night, right here in studio with an update, possibly with a guest. But until then, have a blessed week and just pray. May the Lord keep us in his hands. God bless you guys. Pastor Shahram Hadian, thank you for joining us. Thank you again for your patience today. Sorry again about the technical issues. We'll try to work that out for Thursday. Have a great, blessed rest of your day. God